Greetings, dear friends. Fanatical Dragon back once again. It is Imaginator time. This latest issue just arrived in from Ken, and what an incredible issue he's put together. So we're going to take a little look together and see what he's managed to get for issue 9. So we start off with this glorious image of the alien from Zillaman, which gives you a little bit of a heads up of some of the goodness that awaits you in this issue. But once we kind of get inside, we get a quick ad for Ken's website, Monster Zone, which you can get the magazine from. I'll leave a link down below to this as well, if anyone's actually looking to order their own copy. But as well as being able to order the magazine, you can find a bunch of Ken's film reviews on there and a bunch of other articles. It's a great website. So we get our rundown of our contents. And first up is one of the big interviews of this issue. Ken interviews Steve Wang, director of Drive, the Mark Dacascos Drive, not the Ryan Gosling Drive. He also directed the live-action Guyver movies, as well as a whole bunch of other kind of work over the years. And this is a pretty great interview with him, though very Predator-focused, which is very timely, given that we've had the new animated feature and the announcement of the next live-action Predator coming out later this year. But it does a really, really good interview with Steve, along with some kind of great images from kind of Steve's archives of showing him working on a bunch of different things, from Monster Squad, from Predator, even right up to getting his opinion on the kind of the newer updated Feral Predator from Prey. Always kind of really a bit of a treat hearing Steve Wang speak. I kind of feel he never gets enough props really for his work on Predator, so it's kind of really good that Ken's given him a chance to speak about what his experiences were like on that project. Then we jump to 1981's Dragon Slayer, and look at the dragon that was created for that by Chris Wallace. And again, he provides a whole bunch of behind-the-scenes shots from that movie. Another kind of bit of a forgotten gem, Dragon Slayer. I'm surprised that it hasn't been picked up by Vinegar Syndrome or one of these sort of labels for a nice 4K release. Maybe somewhere down the line that will happen, or maybe it already has and I'm just unaware. So if there's a 4K of Dragon Slayer, let me know in the comments down below. Then we jump into another incredible interview, this time around with Veronica Cartwright, an amazing actress with a pretty incredible career, but I still know her most, as most people do, for Alien. And she's also in The Invasion of the Body Snatchers, and has a pretty memorable role in The Witches of Eastwick too. But really kind of great interview with her. Ken gets a chance to speak to her about, again, principally about her experiences when making the original Alien, but also kind of dives into a few of the other projects that she worked on too. But always kind of great hearing people reminisce about their time on that movie. And again, some great behind the scenes shots. Extremely cool. Then we jump to a new movie, Werewolves, starring Frank Grillo. And this is an interview with James Michael Cummings, who plays the wolf killer Cody Walker in Werewolves. And speaks about the project. Again, with a whole bunch of behind the scenes. Not a movie I've had a chance to see yet, but I do enjoy a good Frank Grillo flick. Then we jump to a couple of H.P. Lovecraft inspired stories. We get reviews of The Call of Cthulhu and The Whisper in Darkness. This is by Ramsey Campbell. He's kind of reviewed those. And then expanding it out into some general creature feature reviews. So we get Alien from the Abyss, we get Hellboy the Crooked Man, we get Shocking Dark, Hellhole, Burial Ground, Fest Godzilla 5, All Monsters Showdown, The Burrowers, Boogieville, The Mummy and the Curse of the Jackals. And then back to interview time, and we get Giving Life to the Deadly Spawn, which is an interview with John Dodds, who designed the three-headed monster from the Deadly Spawn, which is available on Arrow. And again, a bunch of pictures from John's archives, kind of behind the scenes where he's working on the animatronics and the puppets that he made. Very cool indeed. Then we go to another interview, and this time around is with Christian Sesma, who speaks to Ken about making Into the Deep, which is a shark movie starring Richard Dreyfuss. Then Dan Nix dives into Beasts of the Blood Island, taking a look at some Filipino low-budget horror movies. Then a chat with Jeff Lieberman, the director of Squirm from 1976. Again, with a bunch of kind of really great images from the movie and some amazing posters from the release of the film. Then next up we get Simon Pritchard interviewing Jurata Durata, and speaking about her work with Argento on Demons and on Rats. And then we get an interview with Ken Barthelmy, who'd worked on Godzilla King of Monsters, The Hollow Man, Godzilla vs. Kong, and The Maze Runner. And again, this is another deep dive into an incredible archive of work by a creature designer, and this is one of my favourite things that Ken's able to get for the magazine. Is I really enjoy seeing the artist's work. Really, it's not normal to see these sort of things put together into kind of one publication. Kind of reminds me a little bit of what Cinefex used to do, but this is a lot much more readable and a bit less kind of industry focused than Cinefex. So it's a bit more accessible when you're reading through it. Cinefex could sometimes be a bit tech heavy, but some glorious images that he'd made for Godzilla, particularly his work for King Ghidorah, I got a real kick out of seeing. I think he'd also done some stuff for Tomorrow War, and you see some of his designs for that here too. Very cool. Then another interview, and this time around is with Madalena Bellarou from Drained and Blue Moon. Then we get an interview with Keith Thompson, who's a freelance artist who's done quite a lot of work on Crimson Peak, on Pacific Rim, The Ritual, on Hellraiser, the 2022 version, on The First Omen, and a bunch of other titles. And again, a wonderful dive into his archives of kind of sketches and designs. And then we get another big heavy hitter. We get Chris Wallace, who'd worked on David Cronenberg's The Fly, and designed the creature for that. Brundlefly. Again, a bunch of behind the scenes images. He'd also worked on The Fly 2 with Eric Stoltz. And then we get another update about the Witch graphic novel, with some kind of more of the panels that's been put together by Russell Fox. And we get Beware the Bone Keeper, which is an interview with Howard J. Ford. A nice mix of some of the images from his movie, as well as his kind of storyboards through to final image. And then another massive get for the magazine. We get an interview with Michael Carter, who played Molasar in The Keep, which has just had a 4K release from Vinegar Syndrome, and I think it's just about to have a 4K release in Australia from Imprint Films as well. He was also the man in the Bib Fortuna mask in Return of the Jedi. But a really great interview with him. Really interesting hearing what his career's been like, and very timely because The Keep is very much on everybody's radar at the moment after being unavailable in its sort of kind of complete form. Arguably not really properly complete. I think there's still quite a lot of footage missing, but we're getting closer to what Michael Mann's original vision was than we ever have before, and with these new releases. So it's really great, and great timing by Ken to kind of get this into this issue. And that is it. The last couple of reviews right at the very end of 2020 Texas Gladiators and Kung Fu Rookie, and that rounds up issue 9 of Imaginator. Thank you very much to Ken for sending it up for me to check out. Really loving these. I also highly recommend checking out Film Frenzy, which is the other magazine, the Eastern Heroes kind of spin-off that Ken edits, that I've contributed a few articles for, that I think Ken's work on both of these titles has been absolutely incredible. But yeah, this is the best issue so far. If you want to pick up your own copy, you'll find a link down underneath. I've been the Fanatical Dragon. Thank you so much for watching this. If you've made it to the end of the video, I salute you. Go watch some good movies, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care.